UFC 299 is coming up this weekend, and today, guys, I have the 5 fighters on the card that I want to win more than anybody on the card. Regardless of my picks, regardless of my bets, I will be sitting here and actively cheering for these fighters to win. I want you to hear me out, and I'd love to know in the comment section afterwards if there are any fighters that you want to win down below. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels, and welcome back to another MMA video, everybody. So, there was honestly a lot of fighters that I could put on here. I really want Petr Yan to win, but he's taking on Song Yadong, and a guy that I really am a huge fan of myself. There was a couple fights there, but I've lowered it down to 5 because I don't want to sit here and be like, I want both Petr Yan and Song Yadong to win, you know? So I'm going to go from 5 to 1 here, and the 5th fighter that I want to win is going to be Curtis Blaydes. I actually just think Curtis Blaydes is a very underappreciated fighter in the heavyweight division. I think, and it's a huge unpopular opinion, I know, Curtis Blaydes, if he had a chin on him, I believe he'd be champion. Besides, maybe not against Tom Aspinall. I think he would steamroll everybody else in the division. I think he would have beaten Ngannou. The problem being, Curtis Blaydes sometimes just, of course, gets chinned. I think he's a fantastic fighter. I think he's very underappreciated, and he's a likable guy. I hope Curtis Blaydes gets the win over Jailton Almeida at UFC 299. But now, guys, the 4th fighter that I want to win more than anybody on the card is going to be Chito Vera. I'm a big fan of Chito Vera, the way he fights. It's always super exciting. Just when I'm sitting here and I'm watching Chito Vera fight, I just can't help but like have that tense moment. I can't remember who it was. I watched a YouTube video from somebody. I can't remember who it was. My apologies. But they described it like you're constantly waiting like in Jaws when Chito fights, where it's like, Dana, when he's like starting to walk up towards somebody and then bang, Chito Vera gets a knockout. He is incredibly exciting. I think he would make for a great champion. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not a big fan of O'Malley at all. Okay, I like Chito Vera. I think that he's being counted out severely in this fight. I actually believe he will win this fight. And I just really like the way he fights. The dude is a dog. The dude gets in there. He works, and he's a very fun fighter. I'm a fan of Chito Vera. I hope he gets the win. But guys, now for fighters that I am a big fan of. The first being Gilbert Burns. I think I like Jack Della Maddalena, don't get me wrong, but Gilbert Burns, I don't know if anybody else feels this way. He's just so easy to cheer for. The dude's so likable. The dude's so humble. I'm a big fan of the person that Gilbert Burns is. And for the majority of the welterweight division, I'm trying to think of fighters that I like in welterweight more than Gilbert Burns. I like one of them's definitely Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't think there's anybody else I would cheer for over Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is just, he's a very likable guy. I've mentioned this on the channel before, but I always like watching Gilbert Burns because the majority of the time I watch UFC with my family, and my dad is just not a Gilbert Burns fan at all. He just thinks he's useless and he's a crybaby. Ever since he cried after Kamaru Usman knocked him out, so he calls him useless crybaby Burns. And it's just really funny because my mom and I like Gilbert Burns. We know a little bit more about Gilbert Burns, so it's just really fun when Gilbert Burns fights there too. And my dad is like bickering me like, oh, Gilbert Burns, useless as usual. I'm like, Dad, Gilbert Burns is a fantastic fighter. He's ranked 4 in the division. But honestly, I'm a big fan of Gilbert Burns. I hope he gets the win this weekend. But guys, there are 2 fighters that I'm cheering for more than Gilbert Burns. The first being Rafael dos Anjos. Also a big fan of Rafael dos Anjos. Been watching him for so long. Been around since I became a fan of the sport. And the dude, like, watching him become the champion was something special. I know his reign wasn't for long, but the dude has taken on the toughest of the tough. The fact that he's still here and still performing at a decent level, I think is great. There's no chance he beats Gamrot. And I like Gamrot as well. I'm not making this and saying, like, I know a lot of people, like, right now it's cool to hate Mateusz Gamrot. I'm a fan of Gamrot as well, but I can't not cheer for dos Anjos, man. I can't. But then again, I'm going to be put in a hard spot here because I know Gamrot, I'm already going to be parlaying him because Gamrot, there's no chance that he loses that fight, man. So I'm going to be put in like a horrible situation. I know I sit down and I say I'm going to be cheering for these guys regardless of my bets, but I can't help it, dude. This one might be a little bit too much. I don't want to lose a lot of money cheering against Gamrot, but at the end of the day, I'm a fan of dos Anjos. He's been around forever. The fact that he is still killing at his age is awesome to see, and I hope he gets a win. But guys, out of everybody on the UFC 299 card, there is one fighter that I want to win more than anybody else. And that fighter is Pedro Munhoz. If you follow the channel, you would know I am a huge fan of Pedro Munhoz. Pedro is one of the most underappreciated fighters on the entire UFC roster. The wars this guy's been through, the technique this guy brings, the chaos this guy brings, the heart this guy brings is like very few. And at his age, what is he, like 36? To be competing at the bantamweight division, to be able to get in there with some of these guys and get wins over them is crazy. You put Pedro Munoz against Cheeto Vera or Sean O'Malley. I know he already fought Cheeto Vera. Look how close that fight was. You can put this guy against anybody, and Pedro Munoz will bite down his mouthpiece and do whatever he needs to do to win. Does he get the job done all the time? No, but this dude sacrifices his body so much more than anybody else on this roster, and I am such a big Pedro Munoz fan. He is one of my favorite fighters. One of my favorite fighters. I like him. I like the way he fights, and I always get hyped up when a Pedro Munoz fight gets announced because I know I am in for an absolute treat. So out of everybody on the card, I hope Pedro Munoz can finally put it together and get a nice win. Guys, that has been the top 5 fighters that I want to win more than anybody in the card. Let me know if there's anybody that you will be cheering for down below. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you are new here and you enjoy the content, please consider hitting the like button, help out the channel a ton, and subscribe if you are brand new. On the screen right now, check out this video breaking down the entire UFC 299 card. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care.